So when we're on the theme of sharing good practice, I thought I'd send you a video of a couple of things that came up in chemistry over the last year or so in terms of IT that we were having sort of difficulty solving, but we found a solution to the problem, and they proved to be quite useful in terms of producing resources for the students. So I'm just going to talk you through them very quickly. Apologies to those of you who are extremely IT savvy and probably think that I've been living with my head under a stone. How I haven't actually worked this stuff out previously. So the first issue that we had was we had quite a lot of material on PDF. Things like, I suppose, old past paper questions, and we wanted to be able to add our own touch to these. So primarily we had a variety of booklets of past paper questions for each individual section of the GCSE spec, for example. But we wanted to, instead of guiding students to the mark schemes for those, okay, which was a very laborious process, and many students quite simply didn't bother to take the time to do it. And we wanted to put together mark schemes for those individual booklets. And I'll show you the problem first of all that we had, because I'm probably not explaining it particularly well, and then I'll show you how we solved the problem. So if we look here, what we have here is in our GCSE Unit 1 folder, we have a booklet of past paper questions for each of the topics in the specification. So if I took acids and bases, for example, here, and I open it up in the normal Adobe that we all have on our computers and we probably all use to open and view PDFs, we can open this. So what we did was we took each question out of the past paper that was on this particular topic of acids and bases. You probably all have your own particular topics, obviously, and we scanned them in. But whenever we scanned them in, obviously we couldn't write on them. We wanted to produce these booklets of questions, but we also wanted to produce booklets of answers that accompanied the booklets of questions and ran exactly parallel to them. Previously to this, we were maybe going to the kids, well, this question here is question 4 from the summer 19 paper. You've got to go and find the mark scheme for the summer 19 paper, and then find question 4. And whilst that doesn't sound like a particularly time-consuming or laborious task for many of us, it was one step too far for many of our students. So what we wanted to do was have these mark schemes for these booklets that ran exactly parallel in the same sequence as the booklets themselves. Now, we had the option of printing these out, writing on in our own handwriting, and then scanning them in again. The problem is that if someone did happen to make a mistake, or you wanted to add some further material to the answer later on, you simply couldn't do that. You had to go through the whole process again. So how did we solve this? Well, if we go back to the folder of questions, instead of opening this in Adobe, if we right click on it, and if we go down to open with, and if we this time open it with Microsoft Edge, you'll see exactly the same document opens up, but this time you'll see up here, okay, top left hand corner, you'll see 3 icons. You'll see a pen, you'll see a rubber, and you will see a highlighter. Okay, and the pen is just a typical annotation tool that you see in many of these packages. You can pick your colour, you can pick the thickness of it. It's everything all you need, and you can from there write or annotate on these documents. Now you'll see if we go up here to the top right hand corner, you can see there's a save and a save as icons up there, which will allow you to obviously save this as your answer scheme to these particular documents. You can then later, if you decide you've made a mistake or you want to change something, you can later at some point come back in again, okay, rub out what you had originally written, okay, and change it to something else, for example, okay, or maybe you wanted to come back in at a later stage and really highlight something that the kids you really wanted to bring to their attention. You can do that, and then of course you can go back up here again to the top right hand corner and save that. Okay, so that was a really useful tool. That allowed us then to move from just having these booklets to being able to provide the kids with what we have here now. You can see these booklets, which are exactly the same, in exactly the same sequence, but they have all the answers in them, which they can use side by side. They can use them on their phones when they're in class. These are all on Firefly. So they'll have them at home, they have them on the phones in class. We provide them with a hard copy of the past paper question booklets, and they can go through the answers at the same time. Okay, so that was number one, problem solved. The other thing that wasn't particularly a problem, but was a bit of a pain, that whenever we were doing stuff like, for example, transcribing marks from our spreadsheet into Sims, or looking at marks while we wrote reports in Sims, or there's a variety of instances where this may be useful. We needed to open two windows side by side. Now, I did not know how to do this. Okay, eventually worked out. So if we maybe open a mark sheet here, I've taken the students' names out of it just in case Darren Walker gets onto me about GDP thingy. So this is very simple. Okay, if I grab that folder or that file up there and I pull it across until I see that line, you hopefully did see the line in the middle of the screen. I'll do it again just in case you didn't. So I grab it up there and I bring it across until we see the line in the middle of the screen. I'll leave it on there for a second. Okay, you can put that halfway across the screen, and then your other document, whatever it is, it may well be Sims, will come up here on the left hand side. I'm doing this on my home computer, so I don't have Sims. Okay, but okay, you just click on that and you can work on both documents independently at the same time, and you can transcribe from one to the other. Okay, pretty silly, simple little thing, and I'm sure many people probably know how to do it already. I didn't. Okay, when I discovered it, it was pretty useful, and I use it quite often. All right, okay, you won't hear from me for another 10 years, so I hope those three things were of some use. Thank you.